The Pale Door, which is available today on video demand and all digital platforms, is a film that is a Western and a horror film. So me considering that I'm not a Western fan, but I am a bit avid horror fan, there was intrigue here, and I definitely wanted to check this out to kind of see how this was all going to unfold for me. And I will say that there was things I like and there's things that I wish I could have had more of, but ultimately I was intrigued and I was invested the entire time for this 90-minute, really thrilling, on the edge of your seat, really gory horror film, shall I say. But so what this film is about is a train robbery that goes bad, and two brothers leading a gang of cowboys must survive the night in a ghost town inhabited by a coven of witches. So the first thing I'm gonna start off by saying is the performances. Now, I thought everyone did a really good job as to selling me in their character. You know, why should I care about you, or why should I be invested into what you stand for, what you're trying to conquer, whatever it may be. But I can't stress enough about why I love independent films, and it's because of the idea of people going into roles that are completely different from the typecasting that they may be used to in bigger budget films and projects. And Devin, who you may not really know the name, but he is Tyler from 13 Reasons Why, which is on Netflix. Now, if you've seen that show, you see how really unconventional that character is that he plays in that series. So, considering seeing him in this film, my first instant investment was, well, how is he going to act in this? So is he going to step out of that role? What is he going to give? And I got to say that Devin absolutely kills it. Pours on the emotion, completely invests in me. Just any scene he's on, my eyes are locked, because I just think he does just a stellar performance the entire time here. Now, the next thing for me is the soundtrack. Now, if you've seen my reviews, you know I'm really big on scores, and I think especially in horror films, the scores and the sound effects really plays a part into adding that extra layer of horror. Now, the soundtrack was a mix of like Western, more traditional Western, and like modern music, which I thought was so cool. I really loved it. It's unlike anything I've heard, but you know, people like Lil Nas X exist. So yes, of course things like this happen. So I definitely was definitely invested into the score, and I thought that was really cool how that was done. The next thing I gotta say is that I thought this film did a good job in the horror department. Now, the witches and everything with that, with the witchcraft and the black magic, all the scenes were really well done because it wasn't over the top CG, which I'm always happy for. And then the gore and the costume design, everything with that was really well done. So I can't stress enough, you're a horror fan, you're absolutely fine in watching this, because you're definitely going to see some craziness happen within it. And not to mention the build up to it with the score absolutely is going to get you to that point. Speaking of build up, I feel like the plot here did a really good job in its build up, and ultimately investing you in the story that at the entire time, keep you at the edge of your seat, wondering what's going to happen, and ultimately when something happens, completely throwing you back in your seat, because it's just kind of that type of movie, back and forth movements, and it's just ultimately you're going to be locked in the entire time. Now, some of the things I didn't like, and this is just me personally, now I wish I could have had a little bit more of a backstory with some of these characters, because I kind of want to know how they got to this point, the relationships, some of the distrust, all that other good stuff that I feel like they cover to a point, but maybe me and being invested in this film wanted to get more. So that's just something that, you know, I wish that there's just a tad bit more of it when it came down to that. But I thought all the characters were very interesting and worth definitely being invested into. I thought all the performances up and down the board, but of course there was a few really good standouts. But I think that overall, when you put the combination of a Western and horror, which I had no clue could work, it absolutely worked on all cylinders. I'm very, very cool with that. And for the low light shots, I gotta talk about the cinematography real quick. So at the night shots and so on, I thought it was really well done. And you know, when you talk about Westerns, the aesthetics of Westerns, the scenery, the location, and then the costume design, and then you put a really good cinematographer with it and shoot some of these traditional Western shots, I thought that was just really well done. So again, for me not being a Western fan, I've seen Westerns obviously. They did a good job in executing that element as well as bringing in the horror element and combination of it together, and it provides a really good movie. So, but yes, definitely let me know what you think about it. It is available now, so definitely check it out. Come back in the comments, let me know. And until the next review, stay locked because much more is coming real soon.
All I really need, that big old belt.